Hi, in this episode of the Connect the Dots podcast, I want to share with you a few tips for managing images in InDesign. I have here an InDesign file, two-page document, and each page has an image. So the question is, how do you go about getting images and how do you manage the files on your computer? I'm going to switch over to the internet and you can see I got the images from Stock Exchange. And what we're going to do two separate examples just so that I can show you the pros and cons of each way. Okay, so let's say if this particular image here of this gentleman, I'm going to do a copy and then I pasted it into InDesign. Whereas with this situation, this image here of the young lady, instead of copying it, I actually saved the image to a project folder. You can see the image right there, headphoneslady.jpg. So what's the difference between copying and pasting versus importing an actual saved document? Well, let me show you. If I take a look at this image here that's placed in InDesign, it does not have an actual source origin. In other words, this image does not physically exist on my computer. It's embedded into InDesign. Now that may be a quick way of getting images in there, simply copying and pasting, but it poses a problem when you want to edit. Let's say, for example, if there were some things I need to do to this image back in Photoshop, I could not edit it because it physically does not exist on my computer. It's only embedded within InDesign. If I try to right-click and edit it, notice there are no editing options. Whereas with the other image, this one was actually placed. How you would do a file place. So we place this into InDesign and it's actually on our computer right there. Okay, so when you do it this way and I look in my links panel, notice in my links panel it's actually referring back to the file in the folder. Why is this the preferred way? Well, if I need to do any editing to this document, if I right-click it, notice I get my editing options and I can edit it in Photoshop or in any other application. If I have to bring it into Photoshop and make any change to it, let's say if I add an adjustment layer, let's say if I kind of shift the colors a little bit. Okay, so I'm making physical changes to this document in Photoshop. And now that it's a layered file, I'm going to have to save it as a Photoshop file. So there it is, headphoneslady.psd. It's a Photoshop file. Now, when I go back to InDesign, because this is a linked document, in my links panel, I can choose this option right here that says to relink, and it's going to ask me where to update it. So I'm going to choose the updated version with the new background, and there it is. Now the great thing is, now that it's a linked Photoshop file, changes are almost instant. If I go back to Photoshop and let's say if I decide to make the background let's see, blue, when I save it, go back into InDesign, my links panel is going to tell me that a change was made. When I double click, it automatically updates. This is the advantage of having a linked document in InDesign where the actual file exists in your project folder. I cannot get that option if I simply do a copy and paste. So I hope this tip has been helpful to you. Again, you want to try to keep your images in the project folder and work with linked files rather than copying and pasting. So long for now.